often and see what that does. I've loading. Thank you for being first. I appreciate you. But I want to try doing ASMR often and seeing what that does to my numbers. Because I do enjoy doing these streams. So I want to give it a shot. So we'll be doing ASMR every Sunday and Wednesday. And we'll see how it goes. Today, I feel like reading reading a bit. I've got the Book of Unusual Knowledge still. Hi Thor, thank you for the lurk. I appreciate you. And I've got this book that my uncle is letting me borrow. It's about, it's like it's an illustrated field guide about birds from the Mesozoic by Juan Benito and Roque Olive. Hopefully I said those names right. But it's a neat little book full of different birds that are long extinct. And yeah, I had to actually like go through it. So I saw it on my dresser before we started. And I was like, I should read some. So I think we'll do that. Sorry, my throat just made a noise. I apologize, excuse me. But yeah, I'm excited. I wish I could show you the pictures. They're really nice. Really nicely drawn. Okay. I guess we'll just get started with the reading. Sorry, my throat keeps making noises.
It's kind of it's a smaller book, kind of like oops, sorry. It's kind of a smaller book, like a pocket handbook, or like, I don't know. It's kind of small, and it's a soft cover. It's a soft shell book, and yeah. So I guess we'll read the back of the book first, because there's stuff on the back. Sorry, my desk's making noise. My chair too. It's too creaky. Okay. My throat might be still a little wonky after Monday, but make do, I suppose. This comprehensive, up-to-date field guide illustrates in unprecedented detail the staggering diversity of all the known birds that lived during the Mesozoic era, the age of dinosaurs. It includes over 250 full-color illustrations, high-quality fossil photographs, and detailed species accounts, including each species' scientific name, location, size, period, and habitat. Morphology and biology, sorry. I don't know why I stopped in the middle of a sentence. The introduction contains a complete narrative of our current understanding of Mesozoic Bird Diversity and Evolution, and is preceded by a foreword written by the highly respected paleontologist Dr. Louis M. Chiappe. I probably said that wrong. This attractive, easy-to-use book is a must for both bird and paleontology enthusiasts. And it's got some pictures of some birds on the back. Okay. 1 second, let me clear my throat. Okay. So again, this is Birds of the Mesozoic, an illustrated field guide by Juan Benito and Roque Olive. If I said that name right, I hope I did. It's a fairly recent book. It was printed in November. So, yeah. So I guess we'll just read through it. Let's see. Sorry, I gotta get scoot closer. The text is really small. Okay, here we go. This is the foreword. The first evidence of the kind of birds that lived during the Mesozoic era, the age of dinosaurs, was unearthed in 1860. It was an isolated feather of modern appearance, but it was ancient and contained in rocks from the Jurassic period. Today we know this 150 million year old feather as Archaeopteryx lithographica, a bird widely regarded as the earliest representative of the group. For many decades and during much of the 20th century, Archaeopteryx and closely related Archaeopterids, together with a few other Mesozoic lineages, were all we had with which to reconstruct the early evolution of birds. Our knowledge of these animals was so limited that researchers assumed that avian diversity during the Mesozoic was low, with just a few groups living in the shadows of the large dinosaurs. When I started studying Mesozoic birds nearly 40 years ago, such a view was the standing paradigm. Back in the 1980s, a history of discoveries of early birds showed a fairly gradual progression. Since the time of Archaeopteryx's first feather, a handful of Archaeopterids skeletons had been found. A number of species of toothed seabirds had been discovered, the diving Hesperornithiforms and the flighted Ichthyornis, and a few fragmentary remains of other early birds had been unearthed scattered around the world. One rather puzzling group, the Anathornis, had been identified just years earlier, but some doubted their avian nature, and that entire knowledge of these birds was based on mostly isolated bones. Back then, no one could have imagined that these few avian fossils, and the little diversity they represented, were just the tip of the iceberg, and that the ensuing years would witness an explosion of discoveries, revealing an intricate saga of avian evolution played out during the Cretaceous period. As this comprehensive book so vividly illustrates, today we know of a myriad of early bird lineages that flew over the heads of dinosaurs, others swam in the water or ran alongside herds of these colossal animals. Among these early birds are the Anathornis, a rather obscure group of birds recognized in the 1970s, which nowadays are known from around the world and from thousands of fossils, many of them representing complete skeletons cloaked in plumage, Yet the paleontological trove that has recently illuminated the early evolution of birds includes far more than skeletons and feathers. Today we have evidence of the eggs and the embryos of these ancient animals. The food they consumed, as in some cases it is preserved inside their digestive tracts. The muscles, ligaments, and skin folds that anchored their plumage, and even the color of some of their feathers. Additionally, their many shapes and sizes tell us of a great deal of ecological diversification, reached way before the demise of their large dinosaurian relatives. The sheer number of individuals of some of these bird species allows us to understand individual variation within certain species, i.e., how these birds changed as they grew and how their males and females differ from each other. As if this were not enough, the exquisitely preserved plumage of many of these fossils with complete wings and tails of different shapes has provided evidence of their flight performance and the differing flight modes, soaring, continuous flapping, bounding, and so on, of which they were capable. In all, today's rich evidence of the early evolution of birds has allowed scientists to paint with some certainty the evolutionary path by which certain dinosaurs became the birds that we see on a daily basis. Nonetheless, scientific knowledge is ever-changing, and the appearances and behaviors depicted in this book will be tested by new discoveries, which will undoubtedly come in abundance, as we reflect on the meager fossil record that existed just some decades ago. We must accept the fact that future discoveries may show many of these interpretations to be inaccurate. But today, let this book be a celebration of the stunning diversity that birds reached during the Mesozoic era, a witness to the remarkable journey of discovery that allowed us to understand so much about their lives, and an inspiration that makes us truly wonder what birding in the age of dinosaurs would have been like. Louis M. Chiappe, Gretchen Augustine, Director, Dinosaur Institute, Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County. Do we read the acknowledgements? Or do we just get into the birds? Oh, here's the introduction. It seems to be quite long. So we've got... Sorry, my throat keeps making noises. We've got quite a bit of time before we get to the actual birds here. But, alright. I'll just read till I can't no more. And we'll move on to something else, huh? Alright. Birds are today the most diverse group of terrestrial vertebrates, with over 11,000 known species found across all major environments on Earth. Although most living bird lineages originated during the Cenozoic era, the so-called Age of Mammals, the last common ancestor of all birds roaming the Earth today, lived during the Mesozoic era, the Age of Dinosaurs. During this earlier period, a large diversity of bird-like dinosaurs existed, many of which could fly and were superficially very similar to modern birds. However, many of these birds of the Mesozoic, albeit related to living birds, were not their direct ancestors and represented instead a huge diversification parallel to that of living species. The earliest feathered dinosaurs that we recognize as birds appeared during the late Jurassic period, about 160 million years ago. That in many cases are analog. Okay. I lost my place. This text is so small. Bird species were very diverse during the Mesozoic, with whole groups developing adaptations that in many cases are analogous to those of modern birds. but also other variations with no close modern counterparts. All of this diversity disappeared, together with all non-bird dinosaurs and a host of unique animals such as plesiosaurs, mosasaurs, and pterosaurs. As a result of the asteroid that struck the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico at the end of the Cretaceous period 66 million years ago, the handful of birds that survived the massive extinction that followed, a tiny fraction of the incredible diversity alive during the Mesozoic, were to become the direct ancestors of all living birds, the only dinosaurs that have survived to the present day. That gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Our knowledge of Mesozoic bird diversity and evolution has dramatically increased over the past few decades. The first bird fossils from the Mesozoic were discovered back in the 19th century and include the iconic Archaeopteryx from the late Jurassic of Germany and the more advanced Ichthyornis and Hesperornis of the late Cretaceous of North America. Their combination of dinosaurian or reptilian and bird-like features constituted one of the first tangible pieces of evidence of the then young theory of evolution. Although fragmentary bird remains were discovered during the first part of the 20th century, the substantial leap in our knowledge of early bird evolution did not take place until the 1980s, when a rush of new fossils from South America, Mongolia, and China provided a new window into Mesozoic bird diversity. These fossils revealed that some lineages of Mesozoic birds, such as the Enethonori and the Tiornithes, that's not how you say that. The opposite birds were not directly related to living birds and represented an independent radiation of uniquely Mesozoic forms. The final decade of the 20th century brought a further sudden increase in the recovery and description of Mesozoic bird fossils, first from Spain and then from the extraordinary rich Jehol biota of China, with exceptional fossils preserving intact feathers and soft tissues. Wow, since then, new, mostly Chinese fossils have continued to appear on an almost monthly basis, and hundreds of species have been named solely during the first 2 decades of the 21st century. This constant stream of new fossils undoubtedly means that some aspects of this book will become outdated in a mere few weeks or months after its publication, as more fossils are discovered that clarify previously uncertain aspects of bird biology and evolution. Likewise, new species will be described and will increase the diversity of Mesozoic birds, providing new hypotheses for their evolutionary interrelationships. The provisional nature of our understanding of these fossils, and in particular of Mesozoic bird biology and evolution, is one of the main messages we tried to convey with this book. Therefore, Birds of the Mesozoic humbly attempts to offer a glance at the state of the scientific field at the beginning of the second decade of the 21st century. Alright, that was the introduction on page 10. So, this text is really small. Alright, on page 11, we start with the phylogeny and taxonomy. Alright. What is a bird? Eviole. Defining what exactly a bird is, despite how it might appear at first glance, is a complicated matter. Several criteria, from the presence of feathers and wings to the laying of eggs, can be used to tell birds apart from other groups of animals living today. However, using features like these is not always useful, especially when dealing with fossils, as many diagnostic features for a group of organisms might have not appeared all at once. Instead, when defining groups defining groups of living organisms, scientists might have not appeared. Scientists often look at their evolutionary interrelationships. All living birds constitute the group Neoth. Some of these names, man. Neonorthes, and are descended from a descended. Hello, fairies. Ninetail, hello. How are you? It's good to see you again. I hope you've been well. I'm just reading a book right now. It's about birds. I'm good. I'm trying something different. I'm gonna try doing ASMR every Wednesday and Sunday and see how that goes. Because I've been wanting to do ASMR more often than just Sunday. So I'm gonna give that a shot and we'll see how it goes. But right now we're reading Birds of the Mesozoic, an illustrated field guide by Juan Benito and Rock Olive. Hopefully I said those names right. Yeah. I'm very excited. My uncle bought this book and he's letting me borrow it. They live in Sacramento, and my dad went to go visit my uncles, and my uncle made my dad take this book back with him so I could read it. Because it's an expensive little book. It was like $34. But yeah, I'm excited to read it. I'm reading it right now, but the text, it's kind of a smaller book. By that I mean the size, like the physical size of the book. So the text is kind of small. And in a book about birds, and by proxy dinosaurs, there's going to be some big, hard to pronounce words. So bear with me. But I hope you had a good weekend. It's good to see you. I hope you've been well. Oh wait, I already asked you that. I'm sorry. I hope you're staying hydrated though. Alright, where did I leave off? Are descended from a common ancestor that probably lived during the late Cretaceous, the final period of the Mesozoic era. Nonetheless, estimates of the age of this group vary from one analysis to another. Okay. Although the living bird radiation originated during the age of the dinosaurs, most modern bird lineages evolved and diversified after the extinction of all other dinosaurs at the end of the Cretaceous, 66 million years ago. It is well established today that birds are a lineage of theropod dinosaurs, the group which includes renowned iconic carnivorous dinosaurs such as Allosaurus, Tyrannosaurus, and Velociraptor. And many fossil discoveries in recent decades have shown that features associated with birds among living vertebrates, e.g. feathers, wings, fast metabolism, and endothermy, probably appeared earlier during the evolution of theropod dinosaurs. Several lineages of theropod dinosaurs, more or less closely related to birds, lived during the Mesozoic, all of which were feathered, and many could fly. And most of these animals would have looked superficially very similar to the birds to living birds to the untrained observer. In fact, based on morphology and appearance alone, it is difficult for researchers to establish a single clear-cut cutoff point for what a bird is and define which dinosaurs are birds and which ones are not. The group of theropod dinosaurs most closely related to living birds are the Maniraptorans. Winged carnivorous dinosaurs, including the well-known genera Velociraptor, Deinonychus, and Troodon, that are characterized, among other features, by a complex wrist morphology. However, these were not part of the lineage that gave rise to modern birds. The use of the word bird to refer to any Mesozoic taxa is not free of controversy, and some researchers prefer instead to reserve this term exclusively for the group that includes living birds and their closest extinct relatives, Neornithes. Neornithes. There we go, I think I got it that time. Neornithes. However, one of the groups whose members are most consistently referred to as birds is Aviolae, a clade that includes all taxa which are more closely related to living birds than to Deinonychus and Troodon. This group receives different names, and some researchers prefer to call it aves, while others consider aves synonymous with Neornithes. The living bird radiation, and some even reject the term altogether. The term Aviolae is used predominantly in this book in order to avoid the confusion that can arise between the different possible definitions of aves. Furthermore, bird is used as a colloquial approximation to Aviolae, and all aviolans are considered birds here, despite including the ancestors of living birds. Excuse me. Aviolae was also a staggeringly diverse group during the Mesozoic and contains Mesozoic and contains many lineages of bird-like dinosaurs that radiated and diversified during this time, and adapted to all types of ecosystems, from dense forests to open seas. The contents of this book attempt to reflect this diversity by covering all well-preserved named Mesozoic aviolan species, as well as several as yet unnamed but scientifically relevant specimens. However, the species accounts section only include taxa which are known from well-preserved fossil material, complete or partially complete skeletons, or whose fossil remains, albeit fragmentary, preserve highly diagnostic features that allow the recognition of their close affinities to more complete taxa. Several aviolan taxa are only known from fragments or isolated bones, and in many cases, the affinities of these are not well understood. As such, these taxa have been excluded from this book, since any attempt of a lifelike reconstruction would be almost entirely speculative, and the morphological and biological information of these taxa is very limited. Okay, we got through that page. We got a lot left. I'm gonna drink some water real quick. Sorry, that was loud. I'm trying not to be loud. I promise. Oh, hi, Floof. Well, thank you. That means a lot. It takes me a bit, but I could get a. I have Where the Wild Things Are. If you'd like me to read that to you, I would happily do that. I think I have a Jules Silverstein book too. I just have to move some stuff to get it. But I would gladly read you an actual story if you'd like. Yeah. Just give me 1 second and I'll be right back. Okay. So, I think I'll read Where the Wild Things Are first. It's not a very long book, because it's mostly pictures, and I can't show you the pictures. But if you've got a copy, you can read along. Okay. So, this is a big book. Let's see, how's this gonna work? I gotta move some stuff. Okay. Okay. Let's see. This is Where the Wild Things Are. Story and pictures by Maurice Sendak. I'm trying to find the first page. Sorry, I keep bumping the mic with the book. Okay. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind. Let's see. Is that the first page? It is. Okay. I need to rewatch the movie too. Okay. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another, his mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. And grew. And grew until his ceiling hung with vines and walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. And in and out of weeks, and almost over a year, to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars, and gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes, and showed their terrible claws. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all, and made him king of all wild things. "And now," cried Max, "let the wild rumpus start." And then it's just a couple pages of them rumpusing about. They're hanging on from tree branches. My favorite wild thing was always the goat one. Not the little goat one, it was the one with human feet. That was always my favorite for some reason. Also, the griffin is pretty cool. And now they're doing a march. Now stop, Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. And all around from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat, so he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." And Max said, "No." The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye. Sorry, it's loud. I'm so sorry. And sailed back over a year, in and out of weeks, and through a day. And into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot. The end. Yeah, it's not a very long book. It's mostly the illustrations you want, right? And I can't show you those. But I hope that you enjoyed that floof. I'm sorry that was probably really loud. Give me 1 second. Okay, and the other storybook I happen to have with me, I think I have a Dr. Seuss book too, but I have to get up and pull it off my bookshelf. So maybe next time. But the other book I have with me is by Shel Silverstein. It's Don't Bump the Glump. Shel Silverstein also wrote The Giving Tree. My dad really likes The Giving Tree, or my grandma does. One of the two. I haven't read The Giving Tree in a really long time. But Don't Bump the Glump is one of my favorite books. Children's books. Because it's just a collection of poems written about these sketches Shel made. Maybe it'd be better. Oh, that might be a bit easier to read it right here. Okay, so this is Don't Bump the Glump and Other Fantasies by Shel Silverstein. Alright. Prologue. Now the bears and the bees and the chimpanzees are creatures with which we're familiar. But what do we know of the humble-backed moe, or the ring-tailed speckled hillyar, or the tongue-twisted, rubber-necked billyar, or the gorp-eating Kelly Kazilliar. Oops, sorry, that was loud. I'm trying not to make a lot of sound. These books. Alright, the first one is the glump, a warning for those who chance to meet a wild glump coming home late at night down a dark street past a graveyard all alone in a storm. Don't bump the glump. The next creature is the quick disguising Ginnet. It's this little guy that looks like a cowboy hat. I really recommend this book. It's a fun read. But the quick disguising Ginnet. This is the quick disguising Ginnet. Didn't he have you fooled for a minute? On the next page is the accident, where the creature looks like a cracked egg. I think I've killed a dickery. I did it by mistake. I thought she was a ball, so I bounced her off the wall. I had no idea that she might break. And then the next one, the crawfie. That silly fish, the crawfie, has been swimming in my coffee, but now I've drunk it up, and he isn't in my cup, and he's nowhere to be found. Do you think that he has drowned? And next to the crawfie is the underslung zath. I fear the wrath of the underslung zath. Will someone else tell him it's time for his bath? Alright, this one's got quite a name. The Zerbingel Drakdunk. The Zerbingel has just arrived, and it's up to me to announce him. How do you pronounce him? Hi, Rengoku. Do you want a smooch? Okay.
Here is your smooch. Oh yeah. You can redeem a smooch once per stream. For each person, each of you gets one smooch. I just gave Goku 2, so I will give you both, or give you all 2 smooches if you redeem the smooch redeem. Anyway.
Hello, Rengoku. I hope you've been well. Let's go. You're welcome. Right now, we're reading through Don't Bump the Glump by Shel Silverstein. Silverstein also wrote The Giving Tree. Excuse me. If you've read The Giving Tree, it's a very good book. I have not read it in a long time, and I don't think I have a copy. But my grandma really likes The Giving Tree. Okay. And the Don't Bump the Glump is just a collection of little poems the author made about made-up creatures. So after the Zerbingel drunk, you've been feeling a lot better? That's good. I'm glad you're feeling a lot better. I hope you're staying hydrated too. Okay, so next is the Gletcher. See the Gletcher in his cage. His claws are sharp, his teeth are double. Thank heaven he's locked up safe inside, or we'd all be in terrible trouble. And the picture is an open bird cage, so the Gletcher has escaped. So we're all in terrible trouble. You're no longer sick? That's good. I'm glad that's good to hear. Alright, next is the trap. Let us set a little trap for the Grinch, Grinch, Grinch. We can catch him if we wait, wait, wait. I shall be the hunter and bold, 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 and you shall be the bait, 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 bait. That takes up 2 pages because the illustration is quite big. And next is the bib. Some of these are like some of these monsters in this book are like absolutely like nightmare fuel. The Bibeli. The Bibeli's habits are rather crude. He shuns all ordinary food. He rather enjoys girls and boys. So when you sense him drawing near, pour some ketchup in your ear and pretend you're a roast, or a poached egg on toast, or a small piece of blueberry pie, and maybe he'll walk right by. I've been good. I've been staying up too late, if I'm being honest with myself. So, a floof roast, yes. And next is, but I've been good. I'm good. Yeah. So next is who? So once again, I find some sand in my chicken soup. Now I'm not accusing the floop, and I don't say that it was the gobbet, but whoever it is, better stop it. You hear? Whoever it is, better stop it. So somebody's putting sand in his chicken soup. This one's one of my favorites. It's not very long, but the drawing is pretty cool. I like it. I wish I could show you the pictures. But next is the terrible Phesus. There's a terrible 20-foot Phesus. Shh, I don't think he sees us. Alright. And next is the Slithergiddy. The Slithergiddy has crawled out of the sea. He may catch all the others, but he won't catch me. He won't catch me, old Slithergiddy. You may catch all the others, but you won't. And then it cuts off because he caught. The Slithergiddy caught him. Next. What am I reading? It's Don't Bump the Glump by Shel Silverstein. It's a nice little book. I guess it's not that short. It's kind of we're not even halfway through. But yeah, it's just a collection of little poems the author made about these little drawings he made. You actually made your own poetry about a wolf-like creature? That's cool. I'm awful with words. I'd like to read it, Floof. I think that'd be cool. Alright. So next is the Wild Gazite. Late last night, I had a terrible fight with a wild gazite with eyes of white and a 50-foot height, and he gave me a fright when he gave me a bite, and then I squeezed him so tight, but I fixed him all right. I turned down the light. And this one, this name's kind of funny. This is the pointy-peaked Pavarius. The pointy-peaked Pavarius, a creature most gregarious, who's never taken serious. Poor thing, it doesn't matter where he is. He's jeered by persons various, who shout out, "Look-ye, there he is," and then wait for him to sing. Man-eating fullet. This is the tale of the man-eating fullet. Let's not pull it. Something's been eating my mustache again. I think it's the skittering skeep again. It's gotten to me in my sleep again. Well, this one's one of my favorites because it's so long. I really like it. This is the glub-toothed swine. When the glub-toothed swine comes to my house to dine, you may find me in France or Detroit, or off in Khartoum, or in the spare room of my Uncle Ed's place in Beloit. You may call me in Philly, Racine, or Rabat. You may reach me in Malmo or Gore. You may see me in Paris, and likely as not, you will run into me at the store. You may find me in Hamburg, or up in St. Paul, or in Kyoto, Kenosha, or Nome. But one thing is sure, if you find me at all, you never shall find me at home. When the glub-toothed swine comes to dine. I think we're about halfway through the book, maybe a little over halfway. The Gelly. See the 28-ton Gelly. He'd love for you to scratch his belly. The Slurm. The slavery slurm at the first sign of trouble will squiver and squimmer and bend himself double and wargle his elbow up into his ear and pull in his ankles and just disappear. Oh, sorry, that was pretty loud. Alright. And then this is the flustering fant. The flustering fant. Some animals pop from cocoons, while others spring from the clay. I've heard that some drop from balloons, or arrive in some other ridiculous way, but the tiny-toed flustering fant, and please don't repeat that I said it, he grows from the stem of the bibulus plant, and the snob never lets you forget it. And this one's one of my favorites. They're all my favorite. But this is the considerate soft-shelled pheasant. You'll never know an animal more considerate of human feelings than the soft-shelled pheasant. Someone has mistaken this one for a pincushion, and he's too polite to say he isn't. And it's this little guy with a bunch of pins in him. Okay, next to him is the long-necked preposterous. This is Arnold, a long-necked preposterous, looking around for a female long-necked preposterous, but there aren't any. About the Bloth. In the undergrowth there dwells the Bloth, who feeds upon poets and tea. Luckily I know this about him. Well, he knows almost nothing of me. See the muffer. Above, you see the muffer who you don't. Well, anyway, you see his tracks. The muffler has gone to sup. You don't? Why, that sly old beast. I do believe he's gone and covered them up. The galloping gris. Have you seen anything of the galloping gris? Purple-eyed and dripping fat. If he went that way, I'll go this. If he went this way, I'll go that. Yeah, I'd love to read it, Foof. I'm sure it's great. Alright. the Gursdy. Does anyone here talk Gursdy talk? Do you know how to say goodbye? For I'd like the Gursdy to leave next Thursday, and all I can say is hi. The plight of the Panada. In Manitoba, Canada, there dwells the lop-eared Panada, a native of Uganda, who sort of lost his way. The strangest beast I've ran into. He's tended by a janitor who comes from South Atlanta, GA. One-legged Zantz. Please be kind to the one-legged Zantz. Consider his feelings. Don't ask him to dance. Well, thank you for the follow, level G attack 8774 _. Hi Chimkin, thank you for the lurk. Hi Neons, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm just reading right now. I'm reading through Don't Bump the Glump by Shel Silverstein. It's just a collection of short little poems about doodles of monsters the author made. We're almost done with the book, I think. I'm glad you're doing fine. That's good. I'm glad to hear it. Alright. The furless flachim. The most contrary beast alive is the furless flachim. What do you think of it, this clever trap that I've invented to catch him? You've got a holiday tomorrow, so you don't have to sleep? Well, you still need to sleep, but at least you don't have to wake up tomorrow. And it's a metal collar chained to the floor with a note that says, "Do not put this collar on," because he's the most contrary beast alive, the furthest flachim. Okay, this is the longest poem in the book, I believe. It reads kind of like a Dr. Seuss book almost, but here we go. There's a scaver-backed Gretchen who lives in my kitchen and makes his home under the sink, and he lives upon gipes that crawl out of the pipes, and he takes only postum to drink. He is friends with the leopard who dwells in my cupboard, and often at night after dark they will sit on the stove and converse with the scrove and catch a few skinch for a lark. Then they'll call to the blossets who creep from the faucets. They'll sit on the tea kettle's brim, and the slithery scarbage crawl out of the garbage and jump in the soup for a swim. We'll sing with the wispies who live in Rice Krispies and serve them my cheese and sardines. And they call to the Zox who in the old napkin box to come down and play bridge in the beans. Then he may run a race to the silverware case with the gruppy who drinks all my beer, and he'll dance with the muffin inside of my oven and whisper sweet sounds in her ear. For the Gretchen's in love with the Mervyn, poor boy, but she loves the backbiting Smee. Or is it Jace? Well, in any case, I'm glad you could make it for tea. I really like that one. Okay. And we've got A Family Affair. Oh, the bulbous bro is a beast with a soul, in a manner serene and sedate, a model of meekness with only one weakness, and that is for eating his mate. Hi-ho, a masculine need for his mate. Now the white-breasted murd is a delicate bird, with a song that is tenderly sung. She is gentle and shy, with a matronly eye, and a fondness for eating her young. Hi-ho, a motherly love for her young. The young gross-bottom grood, he takes milk for his food, and goopies and bran for his tummy. And he goos with delight when sometime at night, he can swallow his daddy and mummy. Hi-ho, a filial love fills his tummy. And oh, were you here for the wedding, my dear? And the quiet buffet that ensued, when the bulbous brole wed the murd, I am told, and produced a young gross-bottom grood. Hi-ho, a gurgling gross-bottom grood. That's probably supposed to be almost sung, like a song. And this next one is just Grue. How to deal with the Grue. Don't pooh-pooh the Grue, for if you do, he'll bite you through, and chomp and chew and swallow you. But if you don't think he won't. The bald-top drone. I see you there, bald-top drone, hiding in that ice cream cone. I'll get awful, awful sick if I give your head a lick. Ew. We're almost through the book. Alright. How to catch a gleech. If you want to catch a gleech, take a paper bag, find a cardboard box, dig a little hole, put the bag in the box, put the box in the hole, put the gleech in the bag, and there you are. The egg of the greel. This egg is the feather-breasted greel's, and if it makes you feel funny just looking at it, imagine how the greel feels. The skinny zippity. Oh, pity the poor, poor zippity, for he can eat nothing but grelly, a plant that grows only in New Caledonia, where the zippity lives in New Delhi. Oops, we've been caught by a quick-digesting gink, and now we're dodging his teeth, and now we're resting in his small intestine, and now we're back out on the street. Get it, 'cause he's the quick-digesting gink. The zombies. The ostrich is known to bury his head. The zombie, so much more discreetly, at the very first inkling of danger or dread, will bury himself most completely. If he glimpses the sound or odor of man, he envisions a horrible death, so he burrows himself deep down into the sand and sits there, just holding his breath. So next time you're down to the beach at the strand, so sunny and splashy and gay, remember, the zombies sit under the sand, just waiting for you to go away. I think we got like 3 or 4 more pages. The flying festoon. I'm going to ride on the flying festoon. I'll jump on his back and I'll whistle a tune, and we'll fly to the uppermost tip of the moon. the flying festoon and I. Oh, I'm taking some crackers, a ball and a prune, and we're leaving this evening precisely at noon, for I'm going to fly with the flying festoon as soon as he learns how to fly. You get paid tomorrow so you can fill your gas tank? Well, that's good. I'm glad, Floof. In Waukesha, Wisconsin. In Waukesha, Wisconsin, you take quite a risk whenever you go to the movies, for there in the dark lurks the double-toothed vark, and the man-eating scale-faced scoovies. There are gobble-eyed gorks, and slimy-tailed borks, and hunchlings and broggy-beaked bies, and grumboons and grobs and globomobs, and creelsies of various sizes. There are bony-backed bleaks, and razor-toothed cleeks, and whaleys and clumpanching gorkle. And the shivery shrieks from the gatoring geeks are worse than the snort of the snorkel. There are glumgirds and speam, and the grimsies scream may awaken the foul-tempered fisk, and the scale-faced scoofies that dwell in the movies, right here in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Oh, you've been putting it off? Yeah. Alright. Gumpelgutch. Go over and play with the Gumpelgutch, Tommy. The Gumpelgutch loves to play. You may bounce on his belly and call him Old Nelly, and fill up his nostrils with clay. Don't be afraid of his fangs, or that one yellow eye, or the scales on his tail, my dear. Go over and play with the Gumpelgutch, Tommy. There's nothing at all to fear. I'll wait for you here. We're down the last few here. The wild cheroot. I'd like a coat of wild cheroot. It's warm and fleecy as can be, but note, what if the wild cheroot would like a coat of me? The friendly old sleepy-eyed skirk. The sleepy-eyed skirk, he's a nice old thing. He'll let you sit inside his mouth. If you knock on his chin, he'll let you in, but I rather doubt he'll let you out. Whoa. Sorry, my thumb slipped. 69 cents a liter. I don't know if that's higher or low compared to where I live. Alright, I think this is the last one, guys. A squishy, squashy stagatol. When singing songs of scariness, of bloodiness and hairiness, I feel obligated at this moment to remind you of the most ferocious beast of all, 6,000 tons and 9 miles tall, the squishy, squashy stagatol, that's standing right behind you. Yeah, that's the book. $3.64. Oh, that's rough. And that was Don't Bump the Glump by Shel Silverstein. Well, those are the books I have that aren't encyclopedias. I hope you enjoyed. I always enjoy reading through that book. It's always a good time. let's see. Can I find gas prices near me? Excuse me. Oh my goodness. One gallon is that many liters? Wow. Oh, diesel is that much. Okay. Well, at the fuel center just down the street from me, it's $3.94 for regular. That's you have a decent sized tank though? Oh, okay. That makes sense. Gotcha. Yikes. 24-gallon tank? Oh, okay. Yeah. If that was a fish tank, you could have what? I have a 20-gallon fish tank outside my room. There's no fish in it right now. Hello, Father Support. Yes, I am a bear. Hello. Hello, hello, Father Support. Hello. I am a teddy bear. But yes, I am a bear. Ted Bear, the movie? I've never seen that movie. I just really like Winnie the Pooh. Oof, $5 a gallon in Spain? Well, that's the thing. The only R-rated movie I've seen is Logan, the last Wolverine movie. That's the only R-rated movie I've ever seen. Because I was raised Mormon, so I was not allowed to watch R-rated movies. And Ted is rated R, so I couldn't watch it. I like to think of myself, or at least my model, more along the lines of, let me show you the whole thing. So this is me. I'm a teddy bear. The stains aren't blood, the ketchup stains. The concept for my model, or my, I don't know, you call it an OC, was Winnie the Pooh, but instead of honey, it was ketchup. Yeah, this is me. I have this blush with heart eyes. I have a grumpy face. And just the blush. But do I call you father or support? Do you have a preference? should we go back to reading the bird book? Where were we? Excuse me, sorry. Did I read this page? Oh. Yeah. What's the stream delay like? I wonder. It shouldn't be too bad. I hope. Okay. It doesn't seem to be too bad. Okay. So we're on page 12. Of Birds of the Mesozoic. I don't know. We've got a whole bunch of pages left before we get to the actual species. But that's okay. We're learning. We're learning ourselves something. Oh, and I do have a redeem for triggers if you'd like. I did add a recent one where I will call you a good boy or a good girl, depending on which one you want, or if you just want me to call you good. That too. And yeah, and there is a smooch redeem. If you want a smooch, I will give you a smooch. Okay. The evolutionary interrelationships between organisms. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. I think this is where we left off. Are difficult to reconstruct even in extant organisms, so scientists use a combination of different sources of data to conduct phylogenetic analysis and reconstruct different branches of the tree of life. Although the first attempts at studying phylogenetic relationships were based on morphological data, in recent times molecular data, DNA, RNA, and protein sequences have become key to assessing the evolutionary relationships between living beings, from animals to plants to bacteria. However, molecules readily degrade, and molecular data is not available for most of the fossil record, as it has only been ambiguously extracted from the most recent fossil and subfossil remains, which are about 1 million years old. That's still kind of old. Mesozoic bird fossils thus preserve only morphological data, and usually only osteological data, which can be derived from their skeletons. This is the only information that scientists can use to reconstruct their phylogenetic relationships of fossils and their positions relative to their non-avian dinosaur relatives in living birds. Paleontologists usually characterize the morphology of bird taxa through data sets, including both living and fossil species, and use discrete morphological features like the absence or presence of a feature such as teeth in complex computer programs to estimate the most probable evolutionary relationships between the studied taxa. Morphological data have several limitations compared to molecular data, chief of which is the significant effect that homoplasy, the independent evolution of similar morphological features in different lineages, can have on the outcomes of analysis, often leading to inferring this text is so small. Inferring a close relationship between similar species that are in fact examples of convergent evolution, i.e., they have adapted separately to similar ecological conditions. Additionally, the nature of the fossil record, with many fragmentary, incomplete, and distorted fossils, complicates the interpretation of the morphological features used to infer their relationships. However, scientists are continuously refining the datasets used to reconstruct fossil bird phylogenies and the addition of more data. Refining the datasets. I already read that. This text is so small. Newly described species and the refinement of our understanding of morphological evolution based on living birds have all helped paint a more accurate and ever-improving picture of the phylogeny and evolution of Mesozoic birds, although a broad consensus reflecting evolutionary relationships among the main avian lineages does exist. Many studies disagree on the interrelationships within certain groups. These disagreements are a necessity or a necessary effect of the limitations imposed by fossil morphological data, but are also caused by the choice of dataset, the taxa sampled for the analysis, and the specific methods that researchers use to estimate phylogenetic trees. Assembling large morphological datasets is no easy task, and researchers often use distinct datasets with different arrangements of taxa to estimate the evolutionary relationships between specific groups, such as some datasets aim at resolving early avian interrelationships and probing into the features separating them from non-avian theropods, while others focus on the closest relatives to Neornithes amongst Mesozoic avians. Where these analyses overlap, disagreements often emerge. Although this book attempts to reflect the current consensus in avian phylogenetics, alternative phylogenetic arrangements and relationships are discussed where appropriate to reflect the manifest uncertainty that exists in some of our inferences of Mesozoic bird interrelationships. Although traditional Linnean taxonomy with species and genre organized in ranked families, orders, and classes is still widespread in ornithology and paleontology and evolutionary biology, cladistic taxonomy is often used instead. In this system, taxa belong to unranked monophyletic groups, or clades, that include a given common ancestor and all its descendants, which are nested within each other as such. All modern birds belong to the clade Neornithes, which includes the last common ancestor of all living birds and all its descendants. However, They also belong to Dinosauria, a clade that includes all the descendants of the last common ancestor of all dinosaurs, including birds. The following section offers an overview of the main patterns in avian evolutionary relationships and discusses how these groups relate to each other. However, a more detailed discussion of the phylogenetic relationships with each of these groups is provided in the species accounts, which include brief introductions to all the main avian lineages. Okay. I don't know if I can read this anymore. The text is too small, and it's almost 9 p.m. So, we might need to come back to this later. The text is just too small. Oh, sorry. I bonked a cup. Give me 1 second and drink some water. But Toad's alright. It's just a bit raunchy. I see. Discovery Channel is smart, yeah. I have some National Geographic magazines my uncle gave me. But I have to get up to get them. But I'd read more of that book, but the text is just too small. And it's too late. I can't read it that small. Oh, the dung beetle? Yeah, they lay their eggs in the dung, and then the eggs hatch and they eat the poop, right? Isn't that why they carry the poop? If that's the beetle you're talking about? Yeah, he eats the poop, something like that. There's a dung beetle Pokemon now in the newest Pokemon games, but they don't roll around a ball of poop. It's just a ball of dirt. Ah, right. When I was little, me and my younger brother, when we played outside, we'd go around in the yard and flip over the rocks. At my grandmother's house, they have these concrete stepping stone things, to put in a garden or something. And they're on top of some wood mulch or whatever it's called, wood chips. So when we'd go over there when we were younger, we'd go outside and we'd flip them over, and then we never found a scorpion. There'd be all these centipedes and potato bugs, slugs, and garden spiders, or whatever they're called. The spiders. That's not the spider that I'm looking for. Why am I looking up images of spiders? I don't want to be looking at spiders right now. But they're... oh. I guess they're common indoor spiders? I don't know. But they're red, and their butts are like white, like pasty white. And that's what we'd find under these rocks and stuff. Sometimes there'd be worms and earwigs. Yeah, we never found a scorpion. There was a praying mantis once on the side of the house. That was really cool. I'd only seen a praying mantis like once in my life, and it was in preschool when I was like 4. Because we did show and tell, and a kid brought in a jar with a praying mantis in it that they caught in his backyard. Yeah, I don't like them either. So when I see a spider outside, that's fine. It's outside. It can live outside. But in the winter, they come in because it's warmer inside. And when I see a spider in the house, I go into like exterminate mode. You just have to, the hairs on the back of your head stand up, and you just have to smash it. Get it? Mosquitoes? Yeah, I haven't seen a mosquito in a while, but I think it might still be too cold. But also, I haven't been outside at night recently, so my dad, we have a pond in the backyard with some goldfish in there, and the state will come. You're like, hey, I have this body of water in my yard or property, and they'll be like, okay, and they bring you mosquito fish. They're like they look like guppies, but they're little fish, and they eat the mosquito larvae on the surface of the water or whatever, and they're free, so the state will just come, dumps them in, and they multiply. They multiply really quickly. So they help make sure there's no mosquitoes, because mosquito larvae like water. So not that stops them. But yeah. The ants ate your sweets drawer? Man, I haven't seen ants in the house in a long time. We only have those little black ants around here. And the last time they got in the house was because I had knocked over, or somebody, it was probably me, but I had knocked over a can of fish flakes. And it was just sitting there, and they got in through a crack in the wall of the basement. And they were just feasting on these expired fish flakes. So that was the last time I remember ants getting in the house. And then we bought those little things you put in the corner of the room or whatever, with the ant poison, and then get it and they carry it back to the hive. Is it a hive? No, colony. Back to the colony. 30 degrees Celsius at noon? Isn't 30 Celsius 0 in Fahrenheit? No, it's 86. It's 32 Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius or something, right? I think that's what it is. That's how I used to the hate sage and peppermint. 32 is 0. Okay. Right, because I had a composition notebook in junior high that had that the equation you used to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit and vice versa. I don't remember how the equation actually works. I just remember 32 is 0. Yeah. Winter was really long this year. It's just now starting to be spring. And we're like halfway through the season. Just subtraction? Okay. It's been a while since I've used it. But yeah, it was still snowing up till a month ago. So, yeah, it's been kind of gloomy and rainy all week. Multiply, is it the multiplication symbol? I haven't done math in so long. 9 over 5 plus 32. Okay, that's what it was. Plus 32. Because Fahrenheit. Yeah. Because 0 multiplied by anything is just 0. So, and then you add 32 to that. So that's how I remembered it, I think. When I was in 6th grade, so that's the last year of elementary school, in my state. That's how my state does it. We were learning some kind of math. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a long division or something. Something to do with division. And you know, they say, dude, you have to show your work. Yeah, it's just annoying because if you can do it in your head, why waste the paper space and write it out? You know, like it's to help you understand how it works, right? But I had found out if I do the equation backwards. Right, it's 80s. That's pretty hot. The temperature here hasn't been that high probably since last year. Or maybe last month. For like a day. It might have gone as high as like 78. So, yeah. That's still pretty hot. But I had found... Yeah, but I had found a really easy way to do these equations is you just do them backwards. I don't remember what kind of math it was, but I did the equation backwards, the math problems backwards. Right. I get that. So I do it backwards, and I didn't even need to show my work because I just did it in my head. And then my teacher sat me in the hall and was like, hey, what are you doing? Like you're not showing your work. I was like, oh, I don't need to show my work because it's easy. And I showed her how I do it backwards, and I thought I was like a genius. I thought I invented a new math. You know, I thought it was like a new type of math that I just came up with as an 11-year-old, you know. And my teacher was like, oh, we're going to learn that next. But I need you to do it this way. But I was like, but this is easier. And it's like, okay, but and I was like really bummed because I was like, I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to invent a new kind of math, you know. Oh, they give you partial credit if you showed your work? Okay. Interesting. I don't think they'd do that here. And, in elementary, they're like, high school's gonna be really hard because if you do something wrong, the teacher's gonna throw away your paper in the garbage can and make you redo it. Like they instilled this fear of high school in you. Alright, junior high. Sorry. And be like, oh no, it's gonna be really hard. And then it wasn't hard at all. Teachers didn't do that. And then in junior high, they're like, oh, high school's gonna be really hard or something. You know? And then high school, like, college is gonna be really bad or really hard. I never went to college, but yeah. Yeah, so when I was in high school, I was in applied math because I have a learning disability where I'm just slower. I'd have to find my paperwork because I don't remember exactly what it was. But this learning disability made it so I took a different math class than the rest of my graduating class or whatever, the rest of my grade. So I was in applied math with like 10 other kids. And so it was kind of nice because we all knew each other because there was only like 10 of us. But so in applied math, you only go through about half of the curriculum that the other students go through, just so you can learn it, because otherwise we couldn't have kept up. Yeah. So, yeah. I didn't have a regular math class. I still learned math, but it was slower paced. We took our time learning some of the math stuffs. But chemistry, I liked chemistry. My favorite was biology, and that was my first year of high school. Yeah. Business consumer math? I don't know what that is. I don't know what state you, if you are American. I don't know what state you went to school in. Right? And that's the thing. They had classes, like we took classes in junior high and high school that were like, here's how you write a check. Here's how you pay your bills. Here's what, here's how you fill out a tax form or whatever. The rum, right? And But I didn't absorb any of it because the American education system is broken. Because it hasn't really changed since the 1950s, and it was theorem. I think there's two E's in theorem. Right? I don't know where you need the Pythagorean. Yeah, something. Yeah, there's two E's. Anyway, I didn't absorb much of it because we just learned it for a test. You take the test after a couple weeks of doing assignments and stuff. And then you take the test and it all leaves your ears. It leaks out of your ears because you don't need it anymore. The test is over. You successfully regurgitated the information onto a piece of paper. Yeah, that's okay. I'm trying not to go on a rant either. I went on one last Sunday, so... well, I don't know if it was a rant. And it wasn't very long. But that's okay. It's my stream. I can rant, right? I hope. Yep. You're right, Floof. I mean, we have the ACT and the SAT. I think in high school you take the ACT twice. And but before you graduate, you have to take, there's a test you take. I think it's the ACT. I don't know if it's the same anymore. I graduated in 2018. So I've been out for like 5 years or longer. Probably 6. Maybe 7. I don't know. I don't want to count. Because then I'll get sad. You were on the honor roll? I wasn't on the high honor roll. I was just on the honor roll. In my... So, when I graduated, we did like the ceremony thing. I think my graduating class was like over 2,000 people. 2,000 kids. Sorry, there's like an eyelash in my eye. And I think my GPA was like 3.6 or 3. I think it was 3.5. Because I made the honor roll. I didn't make the high honor roll. And if you make the honor roll or the high honor roll, you got a special tassel to put on your hat. And the high honor roll got a gold rope. And the honor roll students like me, we got a silver rope. And there were actually more kids on the high honor roll than the honor roll. I thought that was kind of strange. Yeah, it was weird. And when I graduated, I was sitting there in this big stadium thing, and I was like, I don't even recognize like more than half of these people. And we went to the same school, or they probably went to a different, no, because it was for my school graduation, and I didn't recognize like more than half of them. So I don't know where they all came from. .67? Wow. That's pretty nice. But yeah, to graduate high school, you had to pass a test. And man, I was like anxious about this because like if I don't pass this, I have to do another year of this junk. And I'm glad I got out when I did, because 2 years later, it was a global pandemic. So I'm glad I got out when I did. Because everything I hear now is like, everything's really bad right now. In education, anyway. So, I feel fortunate. Yeah, the bachelor? I don't know. I think this bachelor, master's, or something that, I don't know. 5 years? Oh, you're older than me, Floof. Probably. Law school? VQ? I don't know what that is. But, it sounds impressive. But, yeah, in high school we took the ACT twice, and I don't really remember what I got exactly, what I scored. I think I scored a 21, which I don't think that's great. I didn't know like half of the math on the ACT because I was in applied math. So it was really rough. I think math was the one I struggled the most in. I think English or history was the one I did the best in. If there even is a history section of the ACT anymore, or if there was, I don't remember. Vocational training. Oh, okay. College turned you into an alcoholic. Oh no, that's not good. $14, $15? Oh, wow. Yeah, you gotta be 21 over here. The drinking age should be 25, right? Because 25 is when your brain fully develops. It's fully developed. Right? It's 25? You have to be 18 to smoke, though. But you have to be 21 to drink. Mid to late 20s? Okay. Oh, yeah. I had some pretty bad anxiety in elementary. It was weird. I don't know if I want to. I mean, it's not bad. It was just my teacher was really dumb. She was old. She was either fired or retired a long time ago. She wasn't a very good teacher. Like, she could not control her class at all. Like, you could still be, like, the best student, but everyone in that class was so loud because everybody was talking, and she'd have to be like, everybody be quiet or you're not going to lunch. And I just sit there all quiet trying to do my math. And, yeah, I had pretty bad anxiety because I did not like going to school that year. That was 5th grade. So I was like, I was like 10. I think I was like 9, 10. Like, oh, sorry, I hit the mic. I did not mean to do that. But, so like, I just start. Like, I'd have this really big lump in my throat every day when I woke up. Like, mucus or what, something. And it'd be hard to breathe. And, I'd throw up. So I just thought I was sick. So I'd get checked out a couple of times a week or whatever. And then I think my parents got kind of worried. So they took me to a doctor. And they're like, oh, you've got anxiety. It's like, what's that? I didn't know what it was. I was just didn't like going to school. And I had like so in elementary there were like two kids that were like, you do not sit them next to each other. They're like the bad kids. As in they're just kind of obnoxious and loud and they don't like to do what they're told. Basically. So my teacher, in all of her magnanimous glory, sat them together on the other side of the room. Instead of separating them on opposite side of the room, she just put them together against one wall of the room, away from everybody else. You know, purpose when disrupting in class. Yeah. So I had to take some medicine, and since then I haven't had anxiety that bad. I still get anxious, like you know, you get the chills, and then your fingers get all tingly. But I haven't like thrown up or anything that bad since then. Yeah, I think my brother went to the ER a couple times because of a panic attack. But I'd take this medicine, and it was like this thick, clear, gel, kind of liquidy stuff. And he's like, well, it tasted really bad. Like, it was not flavored at all. It was just awful stuff. And the doctor was like, you can take it with soda. So I was like, oh, okay. I really like root beer, so maybe I'll take it with root beer. I don't even remember what the medicine was. It was like a clear liquid in a glass bottle with the baster thing. And I didn't want to. And the doctor was like, "Well, it might ruin root beer for you, so you should probably pick a different medicine." So I picked Sprite. And I can't drink Sprite anymore. Like, it's been long enough I can still drink it, but it still tastes like the medicine. Thank you for the lurk, Floof. Thank you. Okay. Be safe. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Give me a second to drink some water real quick. No, you can't buy any medicine you want if you have the money. Some stuff you can only get if it's prescribed to you. Like you can get medical weed and stuff, medical marijuana, but some types you have to be prescribed to have. Like I had a kidney stone episode a couple months ago in like March. Maybe it was February, but I think it was March. And I was prescribed some medicine for the pain that you can't buy over the counter. It's not something you can just waltz into a grocery store, pharmacy, and pick up. Even if you have the money, or most of the time you don't even have the money for the medicine. America's medical system is just broken. Yeah. So, but yeah, the movies are wrong. But we do have yellow school buses and Twinkies. That is true. And they don't have seatbelts. The school buses don't have seatbelts. Oh, well, you need something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah. Oh, yeah. The U.S. doesn't do that. No, sir. Can't have any of that. Okay. Yeah, when I had my kidney episode, the stone was too big to just pass. Like it was too big for me to just pass it on my own. It was so I had been to the ER before, like 2 years ago, for kidney stones, and the stone was 3 millimeters. It was pretty small. So I passed that one fine. And a couple months ago, I went to the ER, and they're like, "Oh, it's a whole centimeter." It was a really big stone, and there's no way I was passing a whole centimeter stone. So I've had the like obvious kidney stone pain for a long time, since I was probably 14. I did pass it when I was 3 millimeters, but my recent episode, it was a whole centimeter. There was no way it was getting out of me, but it was already at the entrance to my bladder. And it had probably plugged something, and then I finally felt the pain, because I didn't have any pain when it exited my kidney, and then it got stuck. So that was my first ever surgery, besides like getting a tooth pulled. My body likes to make them. Yes, I even swore off like cup noodles and stuff with lots of salt. Like I try to avoid it now, but my body just likes to make them. My uncle, on my mom's side, one of my uncles also gets kidney stones quite a bit. So, yeah, it just, my body likes to make them. That's why you stay hydrated, so you don't have to pass kidney stones. Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It was not fun.
Sorry. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. That was gross. I don't know why that makes us out. But I'm so sorry. That was disgusting.
2 minutes of ads? It should only be a minute and a half. You got 2 1-minute ads? I'll have to look at my ad settings. I haven't touched them. I made it so ads play like every 30 minutes. A minute 30 seconds of ads plays like every 30 minutes. Because if you play 3 minutes of ads in an hour, it turns off pre-roll ads, and pre-roll ads are just the worst. 5 in a row? Yeah, some people need to look at their ad settings, because 5, 6, 7 ads. I think I got like 8 ads once. It's just ridiculous. Those are probably like the basic settings for ads on Twitch. I just haven't looked at them. It's really annoying. And you get like, sometimes the ads are like the banner ads, and that doesn't interrupt the stream. So, yeah, and you get like 50 cents from the ads. It's not a whole lot. So I changed my ad settings so I get a 50-50 split of the ad revenue instead of 30-70. And that also turned off pre-roll ads. So that's why my ads are like that. I'm sorry you get that many. It really sucks. Oh, sorry, my voice cracked. I'm trying not to be loud, my voice just goes and cracks. I hate it. I'm 23 and my voice still cracks. I hate it. It sucks. But yeah, my body just likes to make kidney stones. After my first episode, I swore off sodium. Basically, I've had like 2 cup noodles since then, maybe 3. Like I really, I'm trying to avoid sodium. But yeah, I've got my water bottle. My water bottle is a whole gallon. I try to drink through it in a day. But yeah. it sucks. Also, it might just be in my blood. Because an uncle on my mom's side gets them a lot too. So, yeah, it's just not fun.
It's okay. It's okay. I feel kind of bad because I feel like I didn't do that many like ASMR triggers tonight, but I just kind of read and like rambled for 2.5 hours. But that's just how it goes sometimes. I think it worked out. So I think from now on, we're gonna do ASMR every Wednesday and a Sunday, and we'll see how that goes for a couple weeks, and maybe I'll change the day around or whatever. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. I think it's time we read out. I'm ready to go to bed. I am sleepy. But thank you guys for being here and listening to just listening to me read and ramble and my voice crack at random times, and I'm really sorry about that. And but all these times I have to I don't know why I'm like saying all these things I'm sorry for. Like there's some kind of sin, but thank you for sticking with me and visiting with me tonight. It means a lot, and I appreciate each and every one of you. It's almost 10. But yeah, I try to go for like 2.5 hours, so maybe we'll go for another 5 minutes. I keep getting eyelashes in my eye. 1 second. Yeah, I usually eat a meal after stream, but I've been staying up too late. I've been staying up till like 3 a.m. and I'm just it's not going so great. So I'm gonna try to get to bed at a reasonable hour tonight. And yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you. I love you all. supposed to be out was on Monday. But we'll see. Also, Black Mesa is on sale on Steam for like $5. So I think I'm gonna pick it up tonight. Cause I've played through the rest of the Half-Life games. So it might be fun to play through Black Mesa. Yeah. But we'll see if I remember to buy it. I kind of don't want to play more Half-Life because I've had my fill, but we'll see. Okay, let me set up the raid. Oh, sorry, Half-Life. Black Mesa, it's a remaster of the first Half-Life game.
Yeah. So, give me one moment. I need to swap my headphones so I can hear my desktop. And I will be right back and we'll raid out. Okay. Let's see. Okay. This person is reading SCP entries. So, we're gonna rate someone new tonight. Because, they're streaming ASMR. Check. Yep, that SCP. But yeah, good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. For Sucker for Love. Don't forget to brush your teeth, drink water, eat something if you haven't yet, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Bye bye. Be nice. It's not that hot tonight. It's pretty cold. Well, it's about average. But I'll be okay. The AC will probably be on all night if it is hot. But you too, sleep tight. Bye guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.